Hey guys, it's Lainey. Welcome back to Crafted by Lucas. In today's video, I'm going to be making a card for you guys. But before we get started, let me show you some products that I've got. Some are new and some I've had but haven't used yet. I just want to share so you kind of know what to expect in upcoming card videos. So, couple things that I ordered back for spring and Easter, and if you've been following me, you may have noticed that I took 4 weeks off. I live tiny and travel full-time for the new ones out there, and my husband's job and things just got crazy and we were all over the place, so I had to take a month off, which has never happened in 2 years of my YouTube channel. YouTube actually sent me a congratulations on 2 years a couple weeks ago, so that is super exciting. I can't believe it's been 2 years. Just can't believe it. But nevertheless, we've got some stuff that we need to create with. Let me think here. Let me think. Okay, first off, this I've had in my collection for the longest time. I asked for this last year for my birthday, so I've had it a year because it's already May again. I'm about to have another birthday in just a few days. I need to create with this. My initial intention and vision was to do ink blending and put this in a picture frame just because it's so large and detailed. How beautiful would that be in like a 5x7 frame? Okay, so for the next thing here, this is Care About You banner add-on. So this is an Easter add-on, but can totally be universal with the banner itself. So it does have the Happy Spring and Happy Easter, but also the thank you and hooray. And also this little piece here says, driving by to say ... So as you can see, we've got the stamp to the banner and then the coordinating banner die. And you can use any short sentiments that you may have in your collection. If you have like a mini Misty, you can just manipulate the stamp in a curved position like this so it fits in the banner itself. So definitely a universal banner piece to have for your collection, and I'm super excited about it. Okay, so let me move this stuff over that I've already showed you. And okay. So we've got the spring sprigs, and you can just use the spring sprigs alone to create kind of like a floral piece, or you can create a wreath itself by arranging 3 of the sprigs together, and it also's got the little flowers just to add a little more color and detail. Another universal piece. This here will be coming to the channel next year, but I've got this cute little bow, which is one of the reasons why I got it. This is called Excellent Easter Basket, but you can see there that the bow's got 2 pieces. It's got that shadow layer and then this detailed piece. Let me show you the back so you can really kind of see those colors. I want to create with repetition and create kind of some kind of flow with the bows. I know many people are creating cards with repetition in the bows. I know Bethany from Bethadilly did it, and so many other talented designers in this realm are creating with bows. And I'm going to do it too if I can kind of create or figure out a pattern that's unique and hasn't been done before, or at least I haven't seen. I want to try to give it a go. So this may be coming to the channel in the next few weeks, repetition of bows of some sort. Okay, so for those of you who don't know or are joining for the first time or just haven't caught on, I live in a 5th wheel toy hauler. It's 46 feet long. Lived like this for over 5 years now. I travel full-time with my husband. So, Happy Trails by Lawn Fawn is very fitting. Although we don't have a little camper like that for just weekend travels, it's still up our alley because our house is on wheels and we just go all over the place. So I need to create with this, and I want to make pink trees. And that is out of the norm for me because I'm more of a traditionalist. Like the sky is blue, the grass is green, the trees are green. But for some reason, my heart is just saying, color those trees pink. So we'll see about that as well. Okay, so I've created with this, but not on the channel. I want to bring it back, and I do have some ideas. This is Berry Rainy Day from Lawn Fawn, and I made a card for my husband for our anniversary, and I do have the coordinating dies in the back. But I loved this die set because it reminded me of Dancing in the Rain in the beginning of our relationship 11 years ago. So this is the card that I made for my Michael, and you can see it's got some dimension there with the sentiments and then the little frog. Super cute. So I'm in the pink, he's in the yellow. This is our dog Gemma, and then this is our cat, and I made our cat the frog that was jumping. So he really liked it. I love it. I love how this turned out. So I'll recreate something similar for you guys. And just a little hint, it's going to be an Action Wobbler interactive card, because why not have a little bear wobbling into a rain puddle? And then, what is it? And then we can use the sentiment Make a Splash. Yeah, that's coming, guys. It's coming. Okay. Honeycomb quilt top die set from Concord and Ninth. This is not new from Concord and Ninth, but it is new to me. This is something that I wanted to add to my collection for a long time. Let me show you the back. And you can see how they've just incorporated different patterned paper. Super nice. So many options with this. And for some of the stuff that I ordered, I did order from scrapbook.com. So this was a free gift, and it's just a magic mat. I've had their magnetic mat and I completely ruined it. I really want another magnetic mat, but it's nice just to have another cutting mat that is long lasting for my Spellbinders Platinum 6. Okay, so something else that I've wanted to add to the collection just because it's a universal piece is this from scrapbook.com. And you can see it's got the stitching and the scallops. Super, super nice. And lastly, the new stuff from Concord and Ninth, the new colors for 2025. I've got the pack here. So I've got 2 colors of each colored cardstock. And then I also have the mini inks. And for today, I have something from Amazon that I've never bought anything like this from Amazon before. And I say that because it's a stamp, die, and stencil set. And this was like 11 or 12 bucks. Super inexpensive. So I wanted to get it so I could test it out, show you guys to see if this is worth the money. And I really think that it probably is. So we're going to be creating with this today. We're going to use these really pretty floral stamps. Very simple. It's got the hello die there as well. And I want to incorporate the new inks from Concord and Ninth because I haven't used them. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right, so I swatched the colors for 2025 because I haven't used them yet. And I was looking these over. So it's got 2 different stencils. So this one here has got 5 different parts. So this one with the 5 goes with this larger flower. And then it's even got this little square for the hello. And then it's got the second stencil here with 4 different pieces, and that's for the other flowers and the greenery. I'm thinking of doing the bigger piece first. So what I am thinking is to create with the larger one and then maybe incorporate another flower in a leaf or so. We will see. Now it does have that film on the polymer stamp. I immediately felt it and I can see it. You can even see the liner of the stamps. So it has got that thick coating on there. So I am just rubbing that off the best that I can. And then we'll put this in our mini Misty here and we'll get this stamped out. And fingers crossed that the stamp works because these are really, really pretty. I'm really excited about this large stamp here. Okay, so bringing in my mini Misty, let me move this stuff aside. I'm going to open up my door here and let's take our largest stamp and cling it on the door. I'm using 80-pound cardstock for the panel or for the flowers. I'm going to stamp it on a A2 size panel and then we will cut it down. So let's position that the best that we can. Make sure my paper is nestled in that corner. Okay. And I've already conditioned it, but let's just do one more for good measure. I'm going to be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is a fast drying ink that works well with alcohol markers. Although it does say it's a fast drying ink, it does take a few minutes. So we're going to stamp this out. And we might have to stamp this a few times because it looks like it's marbling. We'll see. We'll get it figured out. But as I was saying, it's fast drying, but it does take a few minutes. And you want to make sure it's fully dry before you start ink blending or coloring with alcohol markers. so nothing smears, because this black will mix in with your pretty colors. Okay, so that stamped out better than I anticipated, but since it was a first impression, I think we're just gonna move that aside and I'm gonna restamp it, because it is a little marbly. I think we just might have to wear the stamp out a little bit. Okay, so I had to restamp it. I had to throw that original one away and redo it. So here we go. That looks really, really good. I think it's just because of a new stamp. I just had to stamp it a couple times, but I stamped this twice just to really darken those lines. So I'm gonna set that aside and let that dry. And I've got water and soap in here. And I need to get a paper towel and clean this off real quick. Now, if you are new to card making, I don't recommend this because these paper towels can get little fuzzies on your stamps. So just be mindful of that. Like, no rubbing. It'll definitely transfer over lint if you rub. But if you're ever noticing that there's, if your stamp isn't very clear, just look at your stamp and see if there's any residue on it, because that happens a lot if you're using stuff like this. Now, while that dries, let's go ahead and stamp some of the other stuff. I'm not sure what direction I'm going in, but I need to just go ahead and stamp everything just in case, to give this ink time to dry. So we've got these two flowers here. Let's just go ahead and use both of these. And I'm just going to position them on this paper here. I want them to have some space in between because we're going to lay the stencil on top. And then maybe let's just use the leaf. See if we have some room. Okay. I'm going to close my door and let those stamps cling and condition them as we did before, just to get that residue off so it doesn't marble too bad. And I'm going to just repeat the process and stamp these twice just because I like those bold lines. Okay. So once again, I'm going to set that off and let that dry and clean this off. And then we will bring in our stencils and figure out how to get all that laid down. And then we'll start the ink blending. All right, so it's been a few minutes. So I think it is time for us to start ink blending. I am taking some really low tack tape and taping this down to my glass mat. Just make sure that's secure. And my AC just cut on, so I'm sorry about that noise, guys. Okay, so this is the 5, and I did play with this because I was confused on all of these little pieces because there's like 5 different petals and I didn't know how it was going to look. So the colors that I really liked out of the 2025 set from Concord and Ninth, I'm really liking the plumberry and the pistachio. So this is going to be a really deep, moody card. And we're going to line up number 1 in some washi tape here. And let's see how this works. Because we're going to use our die cut to cut this out, so it doesn't really matter if the surrounding paper gets damaged, because we're just going to cut that off. So, excuse my head. I'm just trying to get this lined up here. And it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to bother me, but I'm just going to have to let it go. Okay, so I'm securing the stencil down and then covering, well, I guess it doesn't even matter to cover up that one because we're cutting it out. I already said that, but okay. I think that that is positioned well enough. So I'm going to come in with the plumberry and let's just go ahead and dab that on. Yeah, that is so pigmented. So I'm just dabbing my brush into that and then I'm going to kind of smooth it out so it doesn't come in so heavy. And not too heavy of a hand here, and small circular motions to blend that plum berry all over. I want to darken this up a bit. Such a pretty color. Okay, so one is done. How pretty is that? You know, I have black embossing powder. That would have been really pretty to do because it would have added that shine. So let's come in with a heavy hand. That first petal is kind of blotchy, but I think it'll smooth out. We'll just add a couple layers of color here just to really build this color up. Okay, hopefully that's not too dark. It does seem that I missed a little bit. My stencil was off a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. Now let me figure out how to line up number 3. Just those outside portions of the petals. There we go. All right, and so I'm gonna come in with a really light hand for this last part of the flower. And I think I'm probably just gonna use what's left on my brush. Yeah, that is perfect. Uh-oh, the stencil's moving. Let me pick this up and look at that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone because my stencil shifted. I don't wanna risk it. Now what we need is the leaves. The leaves in the center of the flowers. And that's where the pistachio is gonna come in. And I could actually use star fruit for the little centers. I think I'll do that. That might be a nice addition. And I'll just use a little blending brush for those little center pieces there. All right, so for the last 2 portions of the stencil, I'm gonna speed this up and put some music on. And I'm gonna add pistachio for the leaves. And I'm thinking I'll add star fruit for the little centers there. All right, so I think the ink blending is done for this part. We still have these other ones here, but I'm not sure if we're gonna need them. I can pick this up, come on. There we go. That is so pretty. I accidentally got green right there, but I think it'll be just fine. You pick this up, Look at those colors. I love how this turned out. I think I want some more flowers, so I'm gonna set that aside and let's bring in this now. And I've got to bring in the new stencil as well. And I'm thinking maybe we'll work on this flower. So I'm gonna repeat the process. There we go. Very pretty. But you can just actually see where I was misaligned. I didn't notice that before. We've got quite a bit of white space there, but that's okay. I did notice that we've got the center of the flower, and I think that that little detail is it, or is part of it at least. Yeah, I think that that goes something like that. And so now let's bring in some of the star fruit again with a littler brush. This is just a cheap brush from Amazon, along with these as well. Be sure to check the description box. I'll try my best to link the tools and supplies that I'm using to put this card together today. Okay, just a little bit of yellow, and then let's bring in the pistachio again, tap off that excess, and I'm just gonna swoosh, 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 kind of moving in an upward motion there to just kind of fill in that the rest of the center part, because there's not a stencil piece for it that I see. I could be missing it, but all right. So let's put the lids on our new colors so they don't dry out. First day I'm using these, guys. I'm so excited to have some new colors in my collection. So now that the flowers are done and I've let them dry, I've been thinking about this, and I mentioned that I kind of wanted to keep it moody. So I'm thinking about bringing in the plumberry cardstock and maybe a gold sentiment with some embossing powder. Not sure on the sentiment yet, because what came with this stamp set is just this tiny hello. I think I want a larger one, but we will see. So what I'm thinking is a tone on tone. Maybe the plumberry not only be the card base, but the panel as well. I also brought in another Amazon purchase. These are arched dies. I've had these for over a year now, and they work wonderfully. So I think I'm gonna incorporate this as well. But first, let's go ahead and just cut these out so we have a better visual, and we can also see how these dies work before we start cutting into cardstock. I've got some snippet tools from Amazon, and one of them's kind of bent up, so let's see here. Okay, I think this is the better one. So what I need is this larger flower, and this is quite thick actually. Might not even need the snippet tools for all of this. Now, being careful not to cut myself, of course. Okay, perfect. It's got a little piece hanging off there, but the cut line is right before it, so that little nub there is not going to be an issue. So let me get this lined up here. I'm gonna bring in some of the tape from the ink blending. Excuse my head. I hope I have this lined up right, because I can't really see the outlines too much, so we will see. All right, and then we've got this flower here. Well, that's nice that you can just break them apart and you don't need an extra tool. And for this here, I'm going to be using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. So let me bring that into the frame. I hardly use this big thing anymore, but I got it down so we can use the arch dies for our panel. All right, and I'm just going to run this through. Oh, that cut perfectly. And I maybe was shifted a little over to the right side, but overall I really like that cutout. I think that it's looking really nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the same thing. Let's get this one cut out as well. And here is the second flower. So pretty. So I'm just going to set these flowers off to the side so they don't get damaged. And now I need to bring in my paper trimmer. I think we just need to start building our card base in our panel, and then we'll get the arch cut out as well. All right, so here is my scoreboard. This is a We Are tool. It's called the Works All-in-One tool. I've had it for a while, and this is just, I really just only use it for a scoreboard. But what we have here is our cardstock cut down. It is measuring at 4 1/4 by 11. So we need to score it in the middle so we can fold this in half. So half of 11 is 5 1/2. So I'm going to make that score mark. And then fold our card base. And now we've got a top folding card in that beautiful plum berry. All right, so bringing in our panel again and our arches. Let's see here. We want to bring it in quite a bit. So we would trim the panel down even further if we brought in the arches. And I'm wondering if I should even do like a double archway and like layer the paper. Not that one. Let's bring in this one. So make it, you know, an archway in between these two dies here to kind of change it up. Let's do this. Okay, let's bring in some tape. I'm going to tape it on the outside of that die, just to avoid any snagging of the paper, just in case. And now, let me bring in my spellbinders again. And since this is the panel, I want to protect it because my plates are kind of damaged. So what I'm going to do is just use this. No, I don't want to do that because I don't want that ink on my plates, because that could transfer over as well. I'm sure the ink is dry from my swatches, but I don't want to risk it. So we're going to protect our panel from our cutting plates, and I'm going to run this through. And now we've got our nice arch. All right, you know what? I want to make this into a window like I was kind of talking about before. So I've got to line this up just so. So we'll just have this outer archway and this centerpiece will be cut out. It'll be hollow. I think that that will be a nice touch. So let me tape this down again. I'm going to lay my protective layer on top, and I'm going to run this through once again. And the reason why I didn't do it at the same time is just because I'm kind of playing with the look here, because I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just, you know, taking it step by step. Oh no, it's got a hole in it. Maybe our flower will cover it up. I like that a lot. And then I could build that up with just like a thin foam tape to add some dimension. And then I could even like emboss this and have this behind it just to break all of this purple on purple up. And then maybe like emboss that, lift this, and then have this down here. Would that be too much? So the foam tape I'm using is from Dollar Tree. It comes in a 3-pack with 3 different sizes. So this is the thinnest one, and then this is the mid-size. And I'm gonna make sure I put this on the right side here. And this is a perfect thickness. And I'm just gonna curve the foam tape along the archway here. Just going slow. Just to make sure it's not showing on the other side. Getting close to that edge as I possibly can. And now we've got that archway built up a bit. And I like how that looks a lot. Definitely helps break up the tone on tone. I'm really liking the plum berry as the card base and panel. So pretty. Because we don't really have a panel anymore because we've cut it down so much. I think that this is going to be it, guys. So let's think here. So one other thing I do want to try just for fun and experimental purposes, I want to emboss this with an embossing folder. I'm not sure which one. I'm thinking floral, but let me look through my collection and see what I can find. So I pulled two different ones. This is from Amazon. I believe it's just got the horizontal stripes, but I really think I'm going to use, I like this one because this is kind of like a window pane or like a glass window. You see the detail on the embossing folder there? It reminds me of like a stained window of sorts. And I know this isn't stained because there's no colors in it. I'm kind of losing the word. I don't know. It's like they have in Catholic churches and stuff. I remember seeing stuff like this going to Catholic church with my grandma or mass. Okay, so let's see here. If you know the word, let me know in the comments down below. It's just a window pane, isn't it? Okay, so what I am trying to do here is just make sure that this is straight. I think probably the best way to do that is probably to do it at the bottom, but I don't trust that at the very, very base. I worry about like the pressure distribution. I'd rather have my little piece here in the middle. Okay, so since this is just a small piece, I think I might be able to just use a cutting plate. Let me see here. Not sure the sandwich. Not sure. Let's see if this is going to be enough pressure. Maybe. I'm going to run it through twice. Okay, fingers crossed that was enough pressure. Oh yeah, I think it was indeed. Let's go ahead and bring in our card base again. I'm going to magnetize this down to my glass mat. And let's start to build this up. So layering these pieces here, I'm bringing this larger piece in to keep it on the card base as much as I can, at least down here at the bottom, so it could be, you know, set up to be displayed. So I'm thinking of just this because there is a lot going on now that we've embossed that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's just go ahead and make our panel permanent. And then I've got to look through some of my sentiments and figure out what I want to do. I'm really thinking about the gold embossing powder, but I'm not sure on what I want the card to say. What I want to do is glue the embossing folder portion down first. I'm just going to use some liquid glue. This will give me a little wiggle room as well, just to make sure that this is center aligned on the card base. Okay, just making sure that this is lined up, centered. And then I'll get that pressed down. I think it needs to be shifted over a bit to the right, but I think that that is pretty spot on. And now I've already taken off the backer here, so this is sticky. I just need to get this aligned as well. Okay, so I pulled some short and sweet dies, and then I've got these dies here that are from Walmart. They were on sale, I think, for just a couple bucks. So I picked these up because I really liked the swoopiness of the script font. It's different. Because I was looking through my stamps and I don't really have too much stamps with a coordinating die cut out, and I would have to fussy cut. So I don't want to really do that. So I pulled these, and let's see here. It's got celebrate, thanks, hugs. I think this would be a nice one for hugs. So let's see here about sizing. See, I think that that's a perfect size. And I pulled the gold, and I'm just don't think that I'm going to like the gold at all. But it is going to be thin and dainty, so I'm going to test it out and see. This is from Concord & Knight. I've never used this foil paper from them before. So I'm just going to cut off a little piece here. And let's run this through our die cut machine. I'm going to do this off camera real quick. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Come on. Oh yeah, that is nice because it is just so fine and dainty. I think that that's it, guys. I think that that is it. Now we could build it up. Okay, can't really see it on. Let me get my tweezers. Just to kind of keep my hands out of the way. So that's with it interacting with the flower, and I think that that is not a good placement because it is visually hard to see. This is the hugs up at the top, inside that archway that I really like, but I think kind of keeping it closer to the floral is best. Let's bring in this one, and I'm just going to kind of play around with this positioning. Let me see what a larger one looks like. I'm going to test out the Celebrate. And then have this down here. It would definitely be well balanced with a larger sentiment going across the top there. So I'm gonna cut this out too and play with this one. And whatever I don't use, I'll just keep in my stash and use it for something else. But I am really glad that I picked these up because they were just a couple bucks and they are really pretty. I think that that's it, guys. So I want to build this up on white cardstock just because this is thin and dainty and this is elevated. I want to make sure that this text is really thick and stable. So let's bring in this 80-pound cardstock here. This was what we used earlier for our panel to protect our panel. So I'm just going to run this through a couple of times on this 80-pound cardstock just to build up this text. All right, the last layer here is the gold layer. And just adding a little glue. Now for this video, I didn't zoom in all the way to my glass mat. I'm not sure what you guys prefer, but if you have a preference, please let me know in the comments. I'm not coloring, so I didn't zoom in more. I typically zoom in when I'm trying to work with like little paper pieces or coloring so you could see a bit better. But let me know y'all's preference in the comments just so I make sure that we're on the same page. I want you guys to enjoy the content, so let me know, please. Okay. Now, lining it up, letter by letter. Just really trying to make sure that it is lined so that white doesn't come through too much from the front. So should we build up the flower piece? I think we should, and then we can play with the Celebrate, but I'm kind of thinking of having it angled just like so. But I need to grab some thicker foam tape. Well, not necessarily thicker, but I needed to grab different foam tape nevertheless. So I picked up this roll. It's just like little squares. This is from Hobby Lobby. I do not like it. I don't like it at all because they pop off too easily. So let's just use these and get this used up so it can get out of my space. All right, so I removed all the backers. Now we've got to make sure we like our positioning here. So this is kind of angled in the corner. That's one look. I really don't like it on the left side. I really am liking the right side more. I think that that is the position, guys. So I'm going to make it permanent and making sure that the petals didn't run off of the card base so it can be set up and displayed, and nothing is interfering with that. So now we've got the celebrate, and I kind of think it interacting angled is a nice touch. And so let's just go ahead and glue this down and make this permanent as well. And the gold adds some shine that it needs for sure. Okay. All right, so I completely forgot that I had gold discs from Spellbinders. I use those to interact with both the panel and the card base, and the golds match the cold cardstock perfectly. This is a lot of Amazon and Concord and Knight's new colors. I love how this turned out, and there is no complaints on the Amazon stamp and die and stencil set. It is just fine in quality. Everything turned out just fine. And the arches, like I've said, I've had those for over a year. That is a great purchase as well. So be sure to check the description box for the products and stuff that I used to bring this card together today, along with my Instagram and TikToks, and give a video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next Card-a-Craft. Bye everyone.